All right, what's good, YouTube? Alex Benjamin here, representing Good Muscle, and the YouTube channel is back. We're here. I got my guy Ryan on the camera, and we're here, and we're gonna do a back and bicep video for you guys today. And I want to kind of go through why I program the things that I program and how to do the exercises, especially once we get into like lat specific training. When we hit the back, there's just a little bit different process that you have to go through. So hopefully you guys can take some of these tips and tricks and implement them with your own training. Before we start though, you know, we gotta get that Total War pre-workout. You know what it is. We're going straight to the dome with it. Oh God. Woo! All right. Oh. Give me a second here. All right, we're ready. All right, guys. So I'm gonna start with a deadlift for today's back workout, which is a compound movement. And I'm feeling a little tight, so I'm running through a 90-90, and I'm doing some contraction-based stuff, so I'm just like going knee down into the mat just to work external rotation and internal rotation. And I'll do this on both sides just to hopefully open my hips up a little bit before I start to pick up the deadlift. Nothing crazy. Just hopefully free up my hips a little bit. So I'm actively pressing down with both sides, which you probably can't see or tell, but. The next thing I'm gonna do is a hip extension. Just because, you know, the deadlift is a hip dominant movement. So at the top, I want to be able to extend my hips into the bar, squeeze my butt. So just something to kind of turn the muscles on and let them know they're about to get work done. Nothing crazy. Probably just do 8 reps. Call it good.
Go ahead and say that again.
The last thing that I'm gonna do for warm-up stuff is gonna be just to get my core going. So I'm gonna go into a dead bug, keeping this half crunch. Again, nothing crazy. I'm not gonna do 20 reps. I just want to turn everything on. Deadlift time. So the reason that I'm going to put the deadlift first today is because I'm going to go pretty heavy and it's going to tax me. So I figure, you know, put the hardest thing first so that we can get the most output out of it. Instead of doing, you know, 2 or 3 exercises and then for some reason trying to go into a deadlift and lift as much weight as we can. Today, I'm gonna work with a tempo. So we're gonna work with like a 2-1-3-1. So 2 seconds up, 1 second at the top, 3 seconds down, 1 second at the bottom and back up. So if, let's take two people and let's say John is gonna do his deadlifts and he's gonna go with, like a 2-1-1-1. So he's going 2 seconds up, 1 second at the top, 1 second down, which basically he's just gonna drop the whole weight down, versus me going with a 2-1-3-1, 3 seconds down. I'm gonna get a lot more tension through that 3 second eccentric, so from the top to the bottom. So, let's say he gets, throughout all his sets, he gets 10 seconds of like all out maximum like force production with his 1 second eccentric. If I have 3, I'm getting 3 times that. So I could get, 30 seconds of maximum force production doing just the 1 set. So really just training kind of smarter that way. So we can get a lot more out of just doing 1 set. So for me, my recovery is a little different. Yours may be different. You may be able to tolerate more, but for me, so I'm gonna work up, probably do like 2 or 3 warm-ups. Once I get to my working weight, we're probably just gonna do 1 set today, because that'll be, with that eccentric, that slower eccentric, it's gonna toast me. So I could do another set, and I've done it multiple times where I do like a max set and then I lighten it up and do another, and I'm just like, toast me. I can't recover from it. Because the way I have everything set up, I'm gonna hit back today, chest tomorrow, legs, and then like a shoulder and arms, and then it's back again. So if I go too crazy and I'm sore for 4 days on this, it's just not gonna be the most ideal situation for my goals, which, by the way, I haven't said what my goals are. So just to put everything in perspective for you guys, I'm trying to get as big as I possibly can throughout the whole winter. So come next spring, I can do like a shred or something like that. So right now we're just trying to put as much force through tissue to elicit the adaptation of lean tissue growth. So we're just trying to throw some heavy shit around, basically, smartly, if that's a word. All right, so I did 1, 2, 3, did 3 warm-ups. First set, I did, 6 or 7 reps. Then I think I did 1 and then 1. I got 315. This will be the top set. So on paper, it's gonna be 1 working set. Again, with the execution behind it, with the 3 second eccentric, that's all I'm gonna need. So let's get it. That was so fun. That's it. On paper, it looks like it's not enough. Again, everybody's different. So you might be able to recover from more volume, but I have a tendency to go all out with my working sets. The biggest difference that I've made from last year's training to this year's training is being able to go all out on 1 set and letting my ego go and just moving on, because I'm probably gonna feel that tomorrow by itself. The difference between last year and this year is I put 10 pounds of lean tissue on, doing less. So understanding recovery and stress and being able to balance that. All right, guys. So the next thing we're gonna do is a vertical row, or horizontal row. I don't know why I just said vertical. It's really not vertical, it's horizontal. I was reading this, it says vertical. Definitely horizontal. Okay. So with that, we kind of toasted like the whole posterior chain. So like everything from my hamstrings to my erectors, it's pretty toasted. So one thing for me, at least, is I want to work on like width. So I want to get wider, have more of that like V taper that everybody wants. You want that aesthetic look. So we're going to go for lats. Now, like I said in the beginning, there's a specific way to row, especially using a machine like this, to hit your lats. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I wanna get set up to the point where I'm gonna end up grabbing here, but as I come back, I wanna be at a level with this seat to where I'm getting as little elbow flexion as I can. Like I just want 90 degrees because that's obviously like, I'm gonna have to flex the elbow at 90 degrees no matter what. We just don't wanna be like, I guess I'd be lower if I were lower and I was pulling this way. I'd get a lot of elbow flexion and a lot more bicep. So just that's how you kind of want to set the seat up now. As far as execution goes, we're grabbing up top. I'm thinking about externally rotating my hand. So I'm thinking about pulling this way. This isn't going to move, but just thinking about external rotation is going to drop my shoulder. My lat from here, my lat is already on. Like I can already feel it just from that external rotation because the lat inserts on the top, on the humerus here on this front side. So as soon as I externally rotate, my lat turns on. Now as I pull through, my elbow is going down into my pocket. And that's as far as I need to go. Getting a little crampy feeling going on. As soon as my elbow goes past the midline of my body, all the scapula, the mid traps, the upper traps, all that stuff starts to fire. So when we're going lats, external rotation, elbow down, right to there, that's it. Boom. That's why you're here. All right, guys, so once we get execution down, we're gonna do, for me anyways right now, I'm gonna do 2 warm-ups. I'm probably gonna go about 6 to 8 reps on both sides because we're gonna go single arm so we can isolate both sides so we're not biasing one side if we are pulling uneven. You could do more warm-ups. 2 is probably perfect for me. And then I'm gonna do 2 working sets. 6 to 8 reps. Okay, so with the last set that I did my singles for 6, and then just to kind of finish them off because there's still some more output that I can get. I just can't do it with one arm. So just grab both, elbows are still going down, and it's just kind of like a finisher, right? So we can get just a little bit more output. Another thing that I forgot to add with this vertical row is like, why do we pick this one versus, the cable row in the back? The reason is because this pad right here. So this is gonna give us external stability, right? Because we're posted up against our chest, which means that we're gonna be able to go a lot heavier, which, going back to the main goal, is to put as much force or as much mechanical force through the muscle as possible. So in order to do that, we need to use heavy loads. So that's why you go with this one, more stability, more output, bigger muscles. So with this one, just like the deadlift, I'm gonna work with a tempo. So, typically we're gonna see people coming in here like, I don't know, man, this stuff isn't very hard. Like I could probably do 4 sets of it, but you're also doing the rep like this, okay? So, how much force production are we really getting from 1, the momentum, 2, you're just running through the whole exercise. So doing something like this, kind of the same up front, like you're gonna want like a 3-second concentric phase. So on the way down, it's 1, 2, 3, 2 seconds in the squeeze, and then another 2 or 3 seconds in the eccentric, 1 second at the top. So make those tweaks to your tempo, and I promise you, you'll do 2 sets and you'll be done. It's a little tip. So I'm gonna go, we just went from that horizontal row, which is gonna work more of like the mid-range lat. So we're here and we're working kind of this mid-range, right? So we don't we could say that that's like the shortest point that we can get the lat to. So maybe like the mid-range and the shortened range of the muscle. So now I wanna work the stretch because I can feel my lats are just juiced up. So now I wanna go through a full stretch. So I'm gonna go with now this is vertical. Pull down. I'm gonna need handles because we still wanna get the external rotation that we did with the row up front. So we still want our hands to be going into external rotation, so we can't do that on a fixed bar. So I like to use this cambered bar. Holy shit. I like to use the cambered bar because then we can externally rotate the hands. We can move a lot more freely. Now, the only thing that we have to think about with this, based on individuals, is the amount of shoulder mobility that you have. So if you don't have very good shoulder mobility, so for example, like if you go into external rotation, you lift your arms up, I can go pretty good amount before I start internally rotating. So that's how you can take a quick glance at shoulder mobility. So if you get to here and you're already turning in, you lack a lot of shoulder mobility, which means one, you probably should work on that. Two, for this exercise, the lat inserts on the humerus. So the shoulder plays a huge role in how we can work the lats. So if we lack shoulder mobility in this overhead position, you can't externally rotate, you're not gonna hit lats pulling this way. It's just not gonna happen. How do you fix that? Lean. So now my arms are down here, right? So let's say you had the shoulder mobility at this point, well, that's how you're gonna hit lats. So from here, like I'm about here, our elbows are still going down towards the pockets, so we're still going in this position. Again, the elbows aren't gonna go past the midline of the body because then we're gonna start hitting upper traps, mid traps. We're on, boys. Boom. Actually, let's keep rolling because since I'm already like pretty juiced up, pretty tired already, I'm just gonna hop in. So I did 60, it's pretty light. I'm gonna go ahead and throw 90 on there, and I'm just gonna jump right into my working sets. I don't need to waste volume on another warm up because my lats are already fucking juiced. Sit down! Oh yeah. All right, so we got our compound deadlift. We got lats, which if you did it right, it should be toasted. What are we still missing with this back workout? Upper back, scapula, shoulder blades, mid traps. Like I think for me anyways, like I always want like a big back, right? So like if you look at a big dude from behind and you see like you can tell that dude's big and strong because his shoulder blades are huge, right? You can see his middle traps, his upper traps and all that. So we gotta hit that. We're gonna go T-bar rows. Now, we're gonna use this. Again, kind of the same concept as why we did the row machine up front, because there's stability, there's external stability with the pad. So this one, we have external stability with this pad. I already smashed my erectors with that deadlift, so if I were to do a T-bar row, you know, like a typical normal, like with a barbell, a landmine, and go this way, the first thing that's probably gonna go is my erectors. My low back is probably gonna give out before my upper back does. So, you know, if we're trying to get bigger and put as much mass on, like we should take that completely out of the equation. External stability. We're gonna allow the shoulder blades to move here, so don't feel like you're like stuck in this position. We want to let the shoulder blades roll all the way forward, and we wanna bring everything together. That's gonna, one, give you better results, and it's also gonna keep your shoulders healthy because they're supposed to move. There's a scapular humeral rhythm that we need to make sure we're keeping. After that, we're gonna go right into a dumbbell Y. So I'm gonna be here. I'm going into this like externally rotated position again with my hands. I'm gonna have dumbbells once we get into it, but I'm going this way. And again, I'm thinking about my shoulder blades going all the way forward at the bottom. And then I'm bringing everything back. Shoulder blades, traps, all that stuff is squeezing. This has helped me with my shoulders and my scapula a lot. I've had a lot of like scapular instability on this side especially. So this right here has helped build that. Now, again, if we're thinking about like, okay, we want to build the back. Well, we have this extremely mobile joint called the shoulder. If we have any kind of scapular instability, it's going to affect how we build tissue all around, lats, upper back, and all that stuff. So if you have an unstable scapula or you can't hold anything overhead without wiggling, that's going to be the first like prerequisite into getting into this stuff. So build the stability and the mobility, and then this will all kind of connect the dots for you.
Go ahead.
All right, guys. So I'm probably just gonna, again, 1 to 2 warm-ups. I'm pretty juiced up already, so I'm probably gonna just need 1 or 2 just to kind of find the weight that I want. Do however many warm-ups you want. Then we're gonna do 2 working sets. Here, we're gonna work with like a 6 to 8 for me. I have the scapular stability to really push this one at this moment. So like if you don't, maybe go a little bit higher and just work on mobility and the function. Here, we're going 10 to 12. 2 sets, 6 to 8, 10 to 12. All right, guys, so back, toasted, should be done. We're moving on to biceps. So I think, especially in the bro community, bicep training is, every day's arm day, but here's the thing, or the problem that I see, especially in my own training, just not talking about, other people. I used to do this a lot. So you have your arm day and you have 7 bicep exercises. Now, there's really one thing that the bicep does, right? It flexes the elbow. So we can change the wrist position. We can go this way, we can go this way, and we can go, reverse. But ultimately, this is all it does. So how can we understand the bicep on another level that will allow us to make better choices when we're training? One, the bicep inserts here up on the shoulder on the humerus, right? The bicipial groove is up here. So there is a little bit of shoulder flexion that the bicep does. But if we're up here, we're gonna get the bicep as short as possible. So if you take your hands and you go from here and you curl and you hold this squeeze here and you drive these elbows up and you keep going up and up and up and up and up, you'll almost get this cramp feeling in your bicep at the top because that's like the shortest that you can get your bicep. So if we think about how can we incorporate that into our training, the shortest part that we can get the bicep to is gonna be the weakest. So relatively, here we're not gonna be able to curl 100 pounds in this position. Mid-range is gonna be right here. So this is where we're probably gonna be the strongest, right in this mid-range part. This lengthened position is where we're also going to be weak. So if we think about that, Christ. So if we think about that, if we hit this mid-range really, really fucking hard, we're not gonna get much out of these other positions because they're gonna be spent and that's where we're weak already. So if we start our exercises with this weaker position, that would be more ideal. So we're gonna start with a high curl. I'm gonna end up facing this way because if I put myself in this position here, I'm also externally rotating the shoulder. So I've talked about a lot of external rotation of the shoulder. So this is gonna put the shoulder in kind of this compromised, like almost unstable position, but we're gonna be working on external rotation and stability of the shoulder. So not only are we gonna get biceps, but we're also gonna get function of the shoulder. So we're kind of hitting two birds with one stone. So over time, the shoulders will work better, the bicep will grow bigger, etc. We're gonna go high curl, we're gonna hit the mid-range, and then we're gonna hit the stretch. Cut. With the high curl, probably just 8 to 10. Tempo, we're probably gonna go with a 2 to 3 concentric, and then a 2 to 3 eccentric, and a 1-1 on the ends. Well, I might hold it for a 2 in the squeeze, just to like really squeeze it out. But again, keep the tempo in mind because it is important. Instead of just going like this, we're actually controlling the movement, squeezing the bicep and coming back. 8 to 10. When we get into the mid-range, I'm gonna go hammer. I'm probably gonna go with like as heavy as I can for like 8 to 12. The incline curl in the stretched position is probably gonna be 8 to 10. So they're all kind of the same 8 to 10 range. I'm not going like super, super, super heavy today because I will have another arm day programmed in the week where I will kind of go all out and hit some heavy weights, but that's it.
Cool.
into these incline curls, there's just a few things to take note. As far as the angle, I guess the question is like, where do I put it? What's the right angle? Should it be higher? Should it be lower? So we're gonna again touch on, shoulder mobility again, right? So, if you're someone, and you can't be in this position, like my biceps are really full right now, so like I can't go that far back unless I actually hold the dumbbell. But if you can't go into this position without like compensating somewhere in this upper spine, then your incline is gonna be higher, right? And that's not gonna do anything detrimental or anything like that. It's just, you lack the shoulder mobility to be there. So regardless of what the incline is, as long as there is some degree of incline, like you're still gonna be in a stretched position no matter what. So that's why I'm here, because I can be in that position and still control. Now, another thing, when we get in this position, we wanna lock this upper arm in the same spot so it's not gonna move, okay? So from here, we're curling, we're gonna go all the way down. So every rep, you're going full stretch, because that's the purpose of being in this position anyways, is to get a full stretch. And then we're curling, nothing's moving but the elbow, the upper arm stays in the exact same spot, just like that. So we don't wanna be here, because if I get to this point here, like my bicep isn't doing anything anymore. So then we kind of take away from, again, the max amount of force output that we can get. So we wanna make sure that there's tension going through the muscle the whole time. So if you go here, we're not getting anything at the top. So stay in this position here. And from this point here, like I have tension from the bottom to the top. So as I finish my biceps off with this exercise, there really isn't a point in the movement where I'm relaxed. All right, guys, that's it. Back in biceps. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you can take a few things from this and implement it in your training and hopefully get a little bit more out, a little more gains. Ryan and I are gonna try and put some more content out. So subscribe, hit the little bell thing. I think that's still a thing. Yeah, hit the subscribe. We're gonna put some more stuff out. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you like it, comment below. Tell us what you wanna see. Peace and love always. All right, guys, so the camera tried to sabotage my good vibes. Peace and love always. Thanks for watching.